let's move on to your introduction to jumps. We've got intro to jumps and then intro to spins, and that's it, okay? So that'll be all 8 skills. And so intro to jumps, start on carpet, start on grass, start on some sort of textured surface. Maybe if it's your jam, you start on a mat, okay? So I'll go ahead and demonstrate. I'm not above practicing on a mat, okay? Get you a textured surface so you're not worried about rolling away, especially if this is your first time intentionally lifting off of the ground in wheels, all right? It scared the piss out of me when I first started doing 180s and 360s. I didn't do it for years. I was probably skating like 4 or 5 years before I decided to 360, which might seem crazy, but nobody around me was doing it. So I was pretty afraid of letting my wheels leave the ground, which is why we're gonna baby step into it. We're gonna ease into it because most people have similar fears to greater or lesser degrees, okay? Gonna start with a baby little bunny hop, all right? Just enough to get your wheels off the ground. And then once you're comfortable here, you jump higher, okay? You can jump as high as you want, as hard as you want. The idea is to get comfortable letting your wheels leave the ground. Now, once you start jumping really high, you gotta think about how to properly land. All right, so I'm gonna break down briefly the idea of like landing properly. All right, so I'm gonna come a little closer. I don't know if, let's see, yeah, okay, you can see me right there. I'm looking in the mirror if y'all are wondering what I'll be looking at. Back up a little bit. So once you start jumping as hard as you can or really high, you gotta land properly so you don't hurt yourself, all right? So that means don't try to lock up and tense up, and like you don't want your body to absorb the full impact. You don't want any single joint to absorb the full impact of it. You want your body to more or less like collapse. You want to land relaxed, not necessarily ragdoll and fall to the ground, but when you land, it shouldn't look like this. Like, just like stiff and don't move. Like land as straight and locked out as possible. That is not the way, okay? So it should be more like jumping and like flowing to the safe position to be in, right? Like letting your knees bend like a spring that just got pressed in, right? Letting your back bend a little bit. I don't know if y'all have seen it, but like if you watch a skateboarder or a snowboarder or something, like clear a gap and they're like jumping from like a flight of stairs, like they cover like 10 stairs and they land at the bottom, they never land like this, okay? They always land and let their body scrunch like an accordion, right? So they'll come all the way down off this jump and they'll land like that. They get really low. They let their body compress and then release all of that energy. You want to disperse it, all right? That's also the art of falling in general. You never want your body to absorb the full impact on one place. So make sure that you're practicing that, all right? So once you're comfortable doing those bunny hops in place, and you can stay on your textured surface or your mat or whatever you're practicing on, start there, then graduate to the floor, okay? Once you're comfortable with your little bunny hops, then do a quarter turn. So here, do a little quarter turn, okay? And then once you're comfortable with quarter turns, and also go the other way, okay? Once you're comfortable with quarter turns, then you can go for the 180. So turning all the way around, go the other way. Okay, now remembering how we land, remembering how to lift off. Once you're comfortable on your texture surface, mat, carpet, side of the rink, whatever, go on the surface you actually want to skate on, whether that's outdoor concrete, tennis court, wood, go on there. Because once your wheels are under you and you have the option of rolling, it creates another element of balance that you have to practice. And then once you can accomplish a 180, then it's time to take it on the move. Okay. So 180s are fun, but they're a lot more fun when you do it on the move. Okay. So start off again, trying to get your confidence up with a little bunny hop. And then once you're comfortable, you go for the 180. Okay. Now, a lot of you are going to feel like you need to jump as high as possible and actually lift off of the ground. But really, the reality is, especially for something like a 180, even a 360, if you turn quickly enough, your feet almost don't even have to leave the ground. You just have to give your body enough lift to be like barely grazing the ground. And then you rotate fast enough so that you end up in the position you want to be in. So this is what I mean. I'm gonna demonstrate a 180 where I jump and then a 180 where I just lift, okay? So this is the jump. This is the lift, okay? It looks like a pivot because my wheels are so close to the ground. In most cases, my wheels are still in contact with the ground the entire time. But what I'm doing is I'm mimicking a jump to get that upward momentum, and I'm creating lift in my body. But what that does is I don't have 185 pounds of pressure driving into the ground. And so all I have to do is rotate. All right, last point on this 180, and then I've got to go teach this private, and then I'll be back to finish this lesson, is it can also be applied. So once you're comfortable with your 180s and your you can move on to 360s, all right? And that's gonna follow a lot of the same concepts. You just walk it up, right? So you can start stationary, you can start texture surface, and then practice the 360 in place, and then you go and you do it on the move. So just like I was saying, you only have to create lift. When I'm here, that's a 360, and all I did was create lift. My wheels were still in contact, but if you wanna see like a jump, that's a 360, okay? So other than that, that is your intro to jumping.